having finished watching Hot in Cleveland, which is a fantastic show, I went in search of another Betty White TV show, and I decided it was time to watch Ladies' Man. And honestly, based purely on this first episode, I don't know how much potential it has. And I'm quite surprised because this is directed by one of my favourite people in the whole world. So I'm conflicted with how I feel about this, and I will talk more about this as we go through. Ladies' Man first aired in 1999, and I won't bring this up again, but I will point out that unless anybody can explain why, I feel like they missed out the apostrophe from the title. Usually it's ladies apostrophe man. It could be seen as a compound noun, like Superman. Ladies' Man. Maybe it could be, maybe that's how we're meant to read it, but certainly the lack of apostrophe there is driving me a bit crazy. But as I said, I won't bring it up again, I just needed to bring it up once. The first episode is the pilot, directed by the wonderful, perfect James Burrows. It's written by Chris Thompson, with a cast including, of course, Betty White. We also have Alfred Molina, Sharon Lawrence, Park Overall, Stephen Root, Katie Volding, Mariam Parris, Dixie Carter, Lisa Darr, Peter Santana, and Tracy Thompson. And as with most of my sitcom discussions, I will go through everything that happens chronologically, but I won't be going into a tremendous amount of detail for two reasons. One, I wasn't finding a lot of it interesting. There wasn't much that I wanted to write down. But two, I don't yet know what's significant, of course. This is my introduction to the characters. I don't know if they have any habits that are worthy of note. So these are purely my initial thoughts with some things that I thought were worth writing down, but definitely spoilers from now. It starts off with an introduction to Jimmy and Donna, and we learn that their baby is due soon. And then it becomes chaotic as the family, all females, come into the house, and then they're at the scan discussing the baby's sex, and Jimmy's concerned that it will be a girl, because everybody else in his life is a girl, and it's kind of him against the others. And then we spent some time with Wendy, and she is his daughter, and this is the first scene that I thought was genuinely funny. I genuinely found it amusing, and I think she could become my favourite character. I liked her personality. I thought she was really entertaining. I'd love to see what else they do with the character. I can't wait to find out. Then we're in a locker room, and it is quite interesting that we have 3 sets in a very short space of time. For a pilot to have multiple sets, it's not uncommon completely, but it is a sign that they maybe had some budget rather than no money at all, and I think that's always a good sign. So the set itself, kind of boring, don't really care for it. Hope it's not a frequent set, but it is promising that they had the budget for multiple sets immediately. And we have some more conversations about whether or not it's wrong for a man to want a son, which I do think is a really interesting topic. I don't think it's bad to want your baby to be one sex or the other, but I do think it's a problem to be so vocal about it. He is being so vocal, and he has daughters. And it's not that he's saying, I wish my daughters were sons. It is definitely the case that he has daughters, so he'd like a son to give it a bit of balance, which I completely understand. But the way he's going about it just makes it seem like he only wants a son. And especially when you're a young child, Wendy is quite young. I don't know if it said how old she is, but she's certainly quite young. That could be misread as, I wish I only had sons. So I don't hate his opinion. I hate how he's going about sharing it. And then the baby is born much more quickly than I was expecting. And it's a boy. And from there, I actually have no idea where it's going. Is it just going to be about their family life? Will every episode have sex at its core? Will everything be about boys versus girls? Stereotypical girl issues versus... Well, I imagine there won't be many boy issues until the baby grows up, and this is only 2 seasons long, so I don't know how quickly the passage of time will be. But I really have no idea. I cannot, at this stage, tell you what this TV show is about. And that's kind of a bad sign for me to have watched the first episode and to have come away with no idea of what it's going to be focusing on. Is it just going to be Jimmy and his perspectives? Is it just going to be about raising boys versus raising girls? I could predict that that could be the case. What's it like being a father of daughters or a mother of sons? There could be some interesting things there, I guess. But at the same time, none of that sounds very interesting. It could be, but nothing in this episode says that it's going to be fascinating. I didn't even care very much for Betty White's character. We didn't get to meet her too much. We do meet Mitzi and Peaches. We meet the grandparents, and it's yeah, they're interesting enough. I think there is potential there, but they're definitely feeling like more background characters. It could be the case that they're not even going to be in every episode. I haven't looked ahead, but based on this episode, again, we didn't really get very much out of them, and I didn't really find them to be that entertaining. The set designs are also not nice. I do not like them. The house is very, very cramped, and I feel like that's what they're going for, because Jimmy has daughters, he has a wife, there are mothers and mother-in-laws, they're all gathering together in this tiny cramped place, and he probably felt shut in and kind of, can you feel claustrophobic surrounded by women? I guess possibly. So that's what they're going for, in my opinion, but I don't like it. When I think of all of the sitcoms that I absolutely adore, they all have wide open sets, brighter lighting. It doesn't feel as crowded and uncomfortable. So I think that's the vibe they're going for, but for me personally, I didn't like it. I could probably get used to it, and hopefully I will, but the sets for me just aren't that nice to look at all. It's not great. It really isn't great, and it breaks my heart a little bit to feel this way, but then I have to remember that while there are many sitcoms I love from the very beginning, there are others that take me quite a few episodes to get into them. Now, we don't have that much time here. There are, I think, 30 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 30. And that's across 2 seasons, of course. So, we'll see. I'm going to go in with an open mind. Season 2 did end. Yes, Season 2, I'm trying to look at IMDb without reading any of the descriptions, but Season 2 did end after 8 episodes. So we have a full Season 1, a fraction of Season 2. I won't look into why it ended so abruptly because I don't want to risk spoilers. But all of this is just telling me it's probably not going to be amazing, and it breaks my heart because also, as well as my love of Betty White, it's James Burrows, and I love him dearly, and everything he touches turns to gold. But unfortunately with this one, I don't think this is a strong pilot. I don't think the characters, at this stage, again, it could completely change, but at this stage, I don't think it's that interesting. But we'll see. I will watch more. I will probably watch the entire thing because it's a short series and I'm really keen to find out why it ended so abruptly. I'm going to go in with an open mind. We'll see what it's like. But for now, I can say with a heavy heart that Ladies Man, the pilot, is just not very good. It started off negatively with a lack of apostrophe. It really bothered me. I put that aside, went in with an open mind, and then established that the characters apart from Wendy are not that interesting. The grandmothers might be interesting over time. The set designs are not great. I don't fully love Jimmy's attitude. Donna was really boring. Who knows? Who knows what's around the corner, but I guess I'll find out soon enough.